Here we go again, you guys. This is another live. Hey. Hey, guys. How's it going? Hey, Tom. You ready for this? Hey, Igor.
Hello, hello, bonjour.
Hi. Bonjour.
Bonjour, ça va?
Ça va bien et tu et vous?
Oui, ça va bien, merci. How's it going? Great to see you.
Good. Good to see you. I'm having a
Yeah.
moment of what am I even thinking?
Look, I know the feeling. I just started learning Portuguese last week.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
man, and I'm so excited about it, but there's a part of me that's like, oh man, I need to learn how to say to be all over again. It's crazy.
Yes, I know. I know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
But
it's
how's
so
it going
wonderful.
for you? Have you been enjoying it?
I've been loving it. I've been meeting so many awesome Brazilians and even some people from Portugal. And it's just been so much fun. And fortunately, because I know French and Italian and a little bit of
Yeah,
Spanish, I already understand what they're saying. But I'm still
that's
at the phase
amazing.
where all I know how to say is muito obrigado. And that's about it.
Hey, we're on the same page then.
That's about it. Yeah. But you know what? It's fun. I'm using a lot of Google Translate, a lot of Reverso context, and just
Oh,
responding to
reverse of
messages late.
context. That is the
Yeah.
best app. That has helped me so much. I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic because, for example, this happens all the time. Not knowing anything about Portuguese, I didn't know how to say I can't wait. So when I
Hmm.
Googled it, it said something like "Eu não posso esperar" or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, no, that's not it. Go into Reverso, and then it taught me, I think it is "Eu não vejo agora," something like that.
Oh yeah.
And I
Yeah,
said,
that's
that's just like
awesome.
"non vedo l'ora." I said, that's got to be the right one. So,
Yes, that's so good. I'm so
yeah.
happy that we're learning new languages. It's like both of our
Yes.
passions. So
I
fun.
know. And what's great is that you already speak Portuguese, I already speak French, so we can kind of
Yeah.
share in what it's like to be already down the road with those languages.
Yes, and we're both documenting our journey, which is
Yes.
so fun. And people
Yes.
can see the reality, like that we have to
Right.
work hard, we have to study, we don't just miraculously learn languages,
Yes.
you know?
100%. 100%. It
Yeah.
always looks like when you say something, it's like, oh, wow, you said that really well. But it's like, look, it took me a moment to understand that in Portuguese we say bom dia and not bom dia. So
Yes,
it
yes. Oh
doesn't
man.
come natural.
Speaking of French, I realized like, okay, reading it, it's okay. Like it's not the hardest because of my background in other languages,
Hmm.
but oh my goodness, when it
I
comes
know.
to understanding it and
Yeah.
speaking it, it's
Yeah.
seriously, it doesn't even seem like a Latin language.
I know.
What's
I know.
happening?
I know. I remember when it first happened to me when I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing some listening. I was
Yeah,
watching some videos and I said, no chance I'm ever going to know how to understand this language. And
yeah,
I always say it's kind of like magic. The more you're exposed to it, the easier it gets. The more you
yeah.
study, the more you can distinguish the words being said. But it's an acquired skill. It takes some time.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And did you jump right in with like hours a day when you started studying French, or what did you do?
Yeah, when I started, I was under the false impression that I could teach myself the whole language. And
Yeah.
I was really jumping the gun there, really thinking I knew more than I did. And I
Uh-huh.
started off, I got myself like one of these workbooks I wanted to show you. This is a really good one.
Okay, okay.
So I get myself this workbook. I'm starting off and I said, oh my goodness, I have no idea how to pronounce anything. This is a mess.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
jumped on Hello Talk, changed my settings to French, immediately started
Yeah.
talking to people, and that's what really
Yeah.
helped me. Then I got a
Okay.
tutor, and
Yeah.
so then I had some direction, but at first I was lost.
Yeah. Do you think it's realistic for me to say, okay, in 1 year from now, I would like to be speaking French?
Oh yeah, totally, totally. Within my
Okay.
first year, I was already doing pretty good, and then come the three
Okay.
year mark, I already traveled to Montreal where I only spoke French. And so,
Wow.
yeah, I was
Wow.
getting around no problem. Everyone loved that I was speaking French to them, and yeah, you could totally do it in a year.
How was the French in Montreal versus France? Because I've heard it's completely different.
It is a little different. So it depends where someone comes from, or if, because, so I'll give you the basic background on it. So Montreal, they considered like a bilingual city. So it's in the
Mm-hmm.
province of Quebec, which is the francophone province of Canada. But everyone in the downtown central Montreal speaks both languages. So you can get by no problem. So a lot of people, they may have just been born in Montreal, but they come from an Anglophone family, so an English speaking family, but they had to learn French. So they may have
Mm-hmm.
more of a neutral accent. And I love accents, so I could go on about it.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
point is that I was able to get around no problem. I understood everybody no problem. The only difference is in some of the vowel sounds. It's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more of an A kind of sound. So I'll give you an
Yeah.
example. In
Yeah.
standard European French, we say je besoin for I need. Like the Italian
Mm-hmm.
ho bisogno. It's like the
Yeah.
Spanish necesito, but it's a little different. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it is in
Mm-hmm.
Portuguese. But in the classic, like Quebecois, let's say, accent, it would be je besoin. So we go from je besoin to je besoin. So just be,
Okay.
as long as you're aware that there's that little difference,
Little difference. Yeah.
yeah, it's overall though, it's fine.
And have you noticed a big difference in France, the country, the different accents from the different regions as well?
Not too much yet. I can tell the
Okay.
difference between north and south because the south sounds a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more like Italian. It's a little bit more melodic, and
Yeah.
they pronounce more of the consonants than they do in the north. So
Yeah.
the classic example is the word maintenant, which means now. So if we
Yeah.
pronounce all the syllables, it's maintenant. So I've
Uh-huh.
heard, I'm not an expert, but in the south, they tend to say maintenant. And if you're in the north, you'll say
Okay.
maintenant. So
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. The language program Pimsleur that I've been listening to, they say no.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. And I've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
so surprised when I've been hearing things. I put it in the Reverso context app because I'm like, what? I need to see it. It helps me not just to hear it, but to see it. And
Right.
it's written so differently.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no way.
yeah.
This is
I know, I
crazy.
know, I know. It's an acquired skill. It's reminding me a lot of Portuguese, where when you read something, it takes a minute to kind of understand what the combinations of letters
Yeah.
represent, because the
Yeah.
sound for AU, EN, and a few other letters, it's all the same sound. It's like that
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
sound. So
Yeah. I think for me so far, well, the R sound is just very awkward because it's
yes,
like more from your throat. And
right.
then the EU sound as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
yeah. Du.
struggling through that.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
past tense of avoir, which is to have, it's like avere in Italian.
Uh-huh.
It becomes, so for me, it's j'ai eu, like
J'ai
j'ai eu
eu.
quelque chose. Yeah, I had something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Wow. Do you want to just speak a little bit of
yeah,
French to me? I don't know if I'll be
yeah.
able to speak anything
That's
back,
okay.
but
That's
I'm
okay.
so curious to see like if I can understand you and
Yeah, I think
because
you
I
will.
really, oh, I don't know. Too much pressure now.
We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot. So I'll say something.
Okay.
I'll say something
Okay.
simple. I can say, je suis très content d'être ici avec toi. Et j'aime bien parler la langue française.
That's simple? What are you saying? Come on, Tom. That is not simple. I got the I am.
There you go.
It's
Yeah.
starting to get really hot in here.
All right, so I'll walk you through it. So,
Okay,
je
let's
suis
go.
content means I am happy. So,
Okay.
this is where it's different from how we write it. So, when we write content, it's
Yeah.
content, which sounds
Okay.
like it's content in English.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So if I were to
So,
read that, I probably would have gotten it.
yes, so it's content. And then if I
Uh-huh.
say d'être ici, that means to be here. So it's D apostrophe être, so to be.
Okay. The EC, I remember that's
Yes.
here.
Ici is here.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So
So je
can you
suis
say it again?
content d'être ici.
Okay. That's amazing. And the
Yeah.
second phrase you said was what?
I think I said I was happy to, I liked speaking French, I said. So
Okay.
j'aime bien parler la langue française. So j'aime means I like.
Oh, yeah.
Bien is bien, but we pronounce it
Okay.
bien. And then
Okay.
la langue is the language. And
Oh, that's a good one to know. I did not know
yes,
that.
la
Yeah.
langue, and then
La langue
française. And
française.
Yeah, and the reason why we say française is because it's
Uh-huh.
the French language, so it's all feminine.
Okay.
So it's la langue française is the
Uh-huh.
French language. If we said I just
Hmm.
like French, j'aime le français, then it's nice.
Yes, I noticed that. They drop a lot of the endings of the letters.
Yeah,
So does
100%.
that have to do also anything to do with the masculine, feminine, or is
A
that
little bit, yeah. So in
okay?
general, we don't pronounce like if there's a T at the end of a word, but there are some exceptions. Same thing
Mm-hmm.
with an S. So for example,
Mm-hmm.
just to talk about a different one, if you say more or less, there's the word
Mm-hmm.
plus, which is Plus.
Yes,
Yep.
Lutad.
Yeah, plus tard.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So if I'm gonna say, but I want more of something, and the word plus is at the end of the sentence, you pronounce the
Mm-hmm.
S. So if I say, je veux plus, that means I want more of it. If I say
Okay.
plus, perhaps in that context, you would say probably je veux moins, which would mean I want like less, because
Mm-hmm.
Moins is moins. Um,
Oh
I
my
want
gosh.
less.
Okay.
But if you don't pronounce the S, it can sound like you want less of something. So that's
Yeah.
then where pronouncing it and not pronouncing it actually changes the meaning of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the
So are there
masculine and
some
feminine can change it too.
Are there is there a general rule then in French where you don't pronounce the T at the end of words?
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much. I'd say pretty much you
okay.
don't pronounce that final consonant. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's that's like my personal rule. I don't know if it's like the French rule,
Yeah.
but yeah, if there's like an E at the end, so when we have français, meaning
Yeah.
French, so we obviously
Yeah.
don't pronounce that S.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's feminine, if someone's saying that they're a French person and they're female, or we're talking about the French language, we put an E at the end, and
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes française. And then I think we add an
Okay.
additional S also, an ES. Yeah, so then you pronounce
Oh
it.
my goodness.
It's an
Wow.
acquired skill. You'll get there though.
Yes.
Yeah.
What should I be doing? So right now I'm doing the 30-minute Pimsleur every day and I can't choose it. You know, it's just the program's already set. And so it is random things, but it's 5 levels of 30 lessons. So I think
Wow.
it's like 5 months worth and I hope to do it all. I did it all in Italian and I think it helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing, Duolingo. I feel like I'm just not ready to talk to natives. So
Right.
I have it on my Tandem app. I haven't put it on Hello Talk yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I feel like I just can't respond to them. I can read it and be like, oh, I think I kind of get what they're saying. But when it
Yes.
goes to respond, like I'm like, I have no
I
idea.
know. It's the same thing for
Yeah.
me. So what I would suggest doing is what I like to do is focus on little remarks. So when you want to say that's great or
Hmm.
that's cool or that's nice of
Yeah.
you, those are fun because even if you can't say a lot to someone, you can at least say that works or that's good, that's bad.
Hmm.
So I've been
Hmm.
enjoying those, and a lot of the expressions are pretty simple. Like if you say
Yeah.
c'est sympa, that means that's nice.
Okay.
If you say c'est génial, that means it's cool. I think we say
Uh-huh.
génial or génial in other languages too.
Yeah,
Um,
like Spanish, Henya.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Same
Uh-huh.
thing.
Uh-huh.
And then I wrote down some others for you. Oh, yeah. How to say you're welcome. There's a lot of ways to say that.
Yeah, I know a
Yeah.
couple, I think, like the
Go for it.
de Fian.
Yeah, de
I might
rien.
have butchered
Right.
it.
Yeah. No, you did
Okay.
good. De rien. Right.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah. There's
I can't
also
remember.
so
That's
a fun
it.
one is pas de souci.
Oh
Pas
my
de
gosh.
souci.
Pas du souci.
Very good, yeah, pas de souci. And what we do often is we omit that de in the middle, so we just say
Uh-huh.
pas de
Pas de
souci, just like that.
souci.
Yeah,
Why do they take that do out of the middle? Do you know?
I think it's just a pronunciation thing, just to speak faster.
Yeah.
Like we do
Yeah.
that with je suis, which means I
Uh-huh.
am, often
Uh-huh.
becomes suis. But I wouldn't,
Sweet.
yeah, suis, like je suis content, I'm
Oh,
happy, je
oh
suis
my
content d'être
God.
ici. I wouldn't suggest though doing that in the beginning. That my teachers
Yeah.
were trying to teach me that in the beginning, and I
Yeah.
think what happens is if you're shortening things, but you can't really express yourself, it could come off as like you don't even know what you're saying. It's like a street French, like you just kind of picked it
Yeah.
off from hearing people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What is the most similar thing that you found between Italian and French?
The grammar. The grammar is basically
Okay.
the same in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
When
So
you're going
hard.
through the Yeah. I
Italian
guess so.
grammar is
Yeah.
tough. It's tough. I
Yeah.
still struggle with it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Portuguese has just felt so awesome because at least the Brazilian variant, when you're conjugating verbs, it's just eu, then você, then nós, and vocês.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this is so much simpler.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yeah. You're gonna
French, you
just
need
like,
all the pronouns.
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the sound is the same. So when you're conjugating something, if you say,
Yeah.
for example, the verb avoir, which means to have,
Mm-hmm.
so we
Mm-hmm.
say j'ai, then tu as, ils, elles ont, a. So the tu
Mm-hmm.
and the third person sound similar. Then it changes
Mm-hmm.
a little. Nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not as difficult as it sounds at first.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely, I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Just starting a new language, it's a lot different, I feel like, than the other languages I've learned.
Yeah.
But I feel like it helps me relate to people more. People that are
Oh,
learning
yeah.
English that haven't learned a language. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
so
100%.
it's
And what's
good.
cool about, if you've already learned Spanish, you've learned Portuguese, like you've been exposed to the languages that are spoken in multiple countries and how cool that is to
Mm-hmm.
see the differences.
Mm-hmm.
French is
Yeah.
the same. You'll start to meet people from Northern African countries, even some. I met someone
Yeah.
once from the Ivory Coast. So you've got
Wow.
Africans, you've got people from Europe because I think they speak French in Luxembourg, Belgium, and France. Then you've got
Wow.
Quebec in Canada, there's the Haitians in Haiti. So it's kind of,
Wow.
we don't expect to come across all these people because we just think of France. But
Yeah.
just like Portuguese, just like Spanish, just like English, you meet all these people and it really enriches the experience. And just like you said, you relate more to people learning English because you
Mm-hmm.
say,
Mm-hmm.
wow, like this is difficult. Things are not how
Yeah.
they're written, how I pronounce it, but
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah. That's so good. What tips could you give me for pronunciation?
Yeah, I would
How do you
say
practice? Yeah.
it's best to practice if you don't talk with someone, like where you send a small audio, you can at least listen to
Mm-hmm.
Google Translate or Reverso context as they pronounce it. Duolingo, I
Mm-hmm.
would kind of avoid for pronunciation because I feel like they cut the
Okay.
audios too quickly a lot of the time.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it just sounds distorted. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely focus on the difference between the U, so the letter U, and the OO
Yeah.
sound, so OU.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, it's similar to the English to, like TOO. That's going to
Yeah.
be your OU sound, so oo.
Okay.
And then
Uh-huh.
there's a difference with the pronoun TU, tu. It's a U
Mm-hmm.
sound. So you may feel a little
Okay.
silly doing it at first,
Yeah.
but it comes up everywhere, and there's an expression like nothing at all, which is
Uh-huh.
rien du tout. So
Rien du tout.
very good. Yeah, 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 exactly. Rien
It's
du
so
tout.
it's
Yeah,
so foreign, on my tongue. It is
I
just
know.
so foreign.
I
Yeah.
know. But once you get those sounds
Wow.
down and your mouth is used to pronouncing them, everything
Mm-hmm.
gets easier. Like you can see I've got my videos on YouTube from like my first
Yeah.
year to my third year of learning French.
Yeah.
Check out my
Yeah.
first year. I was really struggling. Like it was hard.
That's amazing that you did a video. I just watched your third year one right before coming on here, and
Yes.
your French is amazing. Like
Thank
absolutely
you.
amazing. You're an
Thank you.
inspiration.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. I've been trying to make a fourth year video, but I may want to do like a conversation one or something, want to shake it
Oh, that
up.
would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like with a French person and just
right?
hang out and talk, and that would be
Exactly.
really awesome. You should
Exactly.
do it. You
So
can't do it with me yet, but
we will
maybe
at
in the
some point.
future.
Maybe we'll do
Yeah.
Portuguese together because you've been my
Yes.
inspiration for Portuguese.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I would love to. Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else French we could talk
Yeah.
about.
Well, I would say just to, it's important to write things also so that you get the accent marks
Yeah.
down. At least coming
Mm-hmm.
from Italian before going into French, I was used to not using accent marks everywhere. Now in
Yeah.
Portuguese, I use them a lot. In Spanish, there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So they
Mm-hmm.
are important in French too. So taking that time sometimes just to write things down, because we
Yeah.
get spoiled now talking to people on apps like Tandem or HelloTalk, where our
Yes.
phone is automatically putting in the
Yes.
accent marks, you know?
I know. I know.
Yeah.
sometimes I give up on a word because I'm literally using my keyboard to try to guess the word, and my
Right.
keyboard is not helping me in the moment. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just tell me the word.
I
I don't know
know.
it.
I know. I do sometimes where I speak to my phone just to see like
Uh-huh.
if it will pick up on what I say.
That's smart. That's
Yeah.
smart.
I've been
Yeah,
doing
that's
that. That's a lot of
awesome.
fun. And yeah, I think what you're doing right now is very useful to begin to kind of get your feet wet, see if you even like the language. And then
Mm-hmm.
with time, you'll
Mm-hmm.
feel more confident to speak to people. And yeah, the pronunciation, you feel like a total boss when you're able to get it down
Yeah.
because you say like one thing to someone and they think it's like, if you just say to someone, rien du tout, they're like, whoa, that sounds really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Already on Duolingo, when I can, the pronunciation ones when you have to do it, and when it's
Yes.
like, yeah, that doesn't sound right, try it again. I'm like, no. But then when I get one and it's like
Yeah.
perfect, I'm like, yes, it
Yeah.
sounds a little bit right at least.
Exactly. No, it's such a satisfying feeling. And would you like me to
Yeah.
teach you anything else in French and you could practice now?
Yes.
Okay.
Teach me something. What can you teach me, Tom? I
All
don't
right.
even know.
So I wanted to
Okay.
teach you two words in English that we use in French that are really useful in everyday conversation. They're a bit informal, but so the words are super and hyper, but we
Okay.
pronounce them, yeah, hyper, it's like, where'd that come from? But we
Yeah.
pronounce them a little differently. So hyper becomes hyper, hyper.
Hyper.
Very
Hyper.
good, yeah, hyper.
Okay.
And
Okay.
super, we actually pronounce the R, it's super. No, it's the same, sorry, super. Yeah, it's the same.
Super. Super.
Super. Yeah, super. Yeah.
Super.
And
Okay.
so those are
Okay.
both used for as like adjectives. So if you want to say something is really cool, well, I don't know if it's adjectives, my grammar is escaping me right now, but if you want to say that's great, you can say
Yeah.
c'est super. C'est super.
C'est super. C'est
There you
super.
go. C'est super.
Yes.
And then if you want to say something, they also use cool. So if you want to say something is
Uh-huh.
just like really awesome, really, really cool, you can use the word hyper. So you say c'est hyper cool.
Are you serious?
Yeah, c'est
Okay.
hyper cool.
C'est hyper cool.
There you go. Exactly.
That's
Exactly. I once met a
awesome.
group of like young French kids. I was walking on the streets in New York, like right by I think it was by St. Patrick's Cathedral, so very touristy area. And I
Uh-huh.
just heard people speaking French, and I had to. I just joined in their conversation as I'm walking next to them.
That's amazing. I
And I
love
just started
that.
speaking French. I was like, "Are you guys French, whatever?" And I was just like, "C'est hyper cool." And they just started laughing because as I'm like continuing to walk, like I wasn't really stopping to talk to them. Just like, "You guys French? I love French. That's super cool." Like, well, hyper cool.
That's amazing. I love that. That's so
Yeah.
fun. I'm definitely going to be using that in my French now. It'll be like
Yeah.
the only thing I'll be able to say right now to people.
Look, it's much
Super
better than when
cool.
I first started. I was just saying, "C'est fantastique," which is it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I
That's
don't know
all I
that
kept
one
saying.
either. C'est
Yeah, no.
fantastique.
C'est
C'est fantastique.
fantastique, exactly.
Yes.
All I kept saying, and
Oh,
then you learn, yeah,
the no's, the negative, like you see in the other languages, it's just like no gracias, like no quiero. But I'm like in French, like the negatives, that
yeah,
is throwing me off a bit.
yeah.
I cannot
The
just say
ne
no
and
in
the
front of it.
pas, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. What I
Yeah.
do is I often get confused where I think the ne is enough, so I'll forget the pas. And
Oh,
the funny thing is that the pas is more important than the ne. So basically, if I say I like don't see, it'd be je ne vois pas.
je
Je
ne vois
ne,
pas.
je ne vois pas, exactly.
Je ne vois
Now,
pas.
you can shorten that by kind of combining the je and the ne, so it becomes je ne vois pas. You could do
Je
that.
ne vois pas.
Yeah, je ne vois pas.
Okay.
Or
Uh-huh.
you just eliminate the ne entirely and you say je vois pas.
Je vois pas.
Je vois pas, exactly. I don't
And
see.
that's the same thing?
It's the same thing. So it's more informal. So everyone's always going to tell you, as a student of French, always include the ne and the pas. But when you're talking to
Mm-hmm.
natives or listening, it's very common for them to say je sais pas, which means I don't know, instead of
Mm-hmm.
je ne sais pas.
Okay, that is a
Yeah.
good little tip. You're full of these great little tips, Tom.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love French. I didn't think that I was going to like French this much because it was
Yeah.
the first language I said I'm gonna learn full on after Italian because I spent 10 years with Italian,
Oh
nothing else.
my
And so it was
Wow.
really daunting to, and then I was already an Italian teacher at that point. So
Yeah.
the slice of humble pie that I had when I had to come all the way back down and say, I don't know how to say I want in another language. I don't
Yeah.
know how to say I
Yeah.
am.
Totally.
I think
Totally.
that's
The
important. It's
basics.
very important to
Yeah.
do. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. What inspired you to learn French?
Yeah, I think I've always just liked the language. I just always thought it sounded
Yeah.
elegant. I've
Mhm.
always dreamt of
Mhm.
seeing the Eiffel Tower in person since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go this year, but
No.
we're living in the midst of something a bit more complicated. So,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I was finally supposed to go this summer. But fortunately, I went to Montreal last year, so at least I can feel like I used French every day of my
Yeah.
life for a couple days.
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, so I've always been fascinated by France. And so I knew that it was another Romance language, so I thought to myself, okay,
Mhm.
well, if I take this on, it shouldn't be as hard as if I were learning, let's say, German or maybe Mandarin or something else.
Mhm. Mhm.
And fortunately, I was right. It wasn't that bad because it's a lot like Italian. But now learning Portuguese, I get
Yeah.
it. It is hard. But when I
Yeah.
had nothing else to base it off of besides Italian, which I
Right.
was already really good at, I was
Mhm.
I was okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just have always been fascinated. And then I've always been fascinated also with the idea of how people speak French in Canada. And I lived very close to
Yeah.
Canada. And so I always
Yeah.
was just kind of like, I want to do that one day. I want to go there. I want to know what it's like. And I think just that
Yeah.
interest in all of this is what made me
Mhm.
want to learn it.
Mhm. And then you did it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks. And what about
I
you?
know.
Why did you choose French?
So it's my dream to be a polyglot, and I'm like, I just want to do the Romance languages. And so, yeah, I did Spanish and Portuguese and Italian, and so here I am with French.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
choice. And I think it's a good choice also after having learned the other languages you learned, because
Mhm.
I think if
Mhm.
French is your first foreign language as an English speaker, I think it's really tough.
Yeah.
But I think coming from the background of these other three languages, I think you're going to have a bit of a leg up.
Yeah. I'm going to be messaging you and asking you things. I already am.
As we say in French, avec plaisir, with pleasure, avec plaisir.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
so
yes.
much. This has been
Yeah.
so fun just
Of
hanging out with
course, it's always
you.
a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, talking
Yeah,
about languages. And I hope that you
absolutely.
get to go and see the Eiffel Tower soon.
Yes, I'll be so happy when I do. And when you see that picture of me there, you'll be like, I remember when Tom told me he's been dying to do this.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for, yeah, taking time to do this, to hang
Of
out.
course, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on your Instagram,
Yes,
and keep up the great work with your French. It's going to be a lot of fun.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone who's jumped on our live and being
Yes.
part of it. You guys
Hope
are
you guys
awesome.
enjoyed.
Yes. Talk to you
Awesome.
later, Tom.
Talk to you later. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Wait, we're supposed to say au revoir.
We could say au revoir. Yeah, we could say that. Or oh, you know what? I'll teach you how to say goodbye. You could say à plus tard. That means see, talk to you later. À
Oh,
plus tard.
à plus tard.
À plus
Okay,
tard.
à plus
There we
tard.
go.
À
À plus
plus
tard.
tard. Okay.
I'm so used to saying ciao.
Ciao, me too. I end all my videos with ciao ciao because it's
Yeah,
Portuguese and Italian, so it's
right.
like perfect.
It is the
Yeah.
best. It's the best. All right, cool. So I'll
All
say ciao ciao
right.
once again.
Ciao ciao.
Ciao ciao.